Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stamping with Melva. I'm Melva Peters, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in British Columbia, Canada. And I want to welcome you to one of my lives that I do on a regular basis. Today, I'm going to feature a couple of techniques. One is masking, because it's a technique that I don't use very often, but I really like the technique. And the other one is stamping, coloring your rubber stamps using your Stampin' Write markers. Now, you can use this technique on photopolymer. I do find it works best on rubber stamps. And you can also use it with blends. But again, I also find it works better with the Stampin' Write markers. The blends are alcohol markers, and so they tend to dry out a little faster. All right, so I'm seeing, oh, hi, Nancy, Catherine. Okay, so I'm live. That's a good thing. I don't actually have my phone here, so, but I am seeing comments coming in, and that's always good. Let me see. If you're coming in on YouTube and you found me for the first time, welcome. That's great. And if you're coming back and found me on YouTube again, welcome back. And I hope to take the time to subscribe so that you get notified when I go live or when I post a video. Okay, let me switch over to my desktop and we'll get started on this technique. I need a birthday card, so that's what this is going to be. I'm using the shaded summer, and the technique I'm going to use, I want a stamp that I can actually turn and go one way and then the other way, if that makes sense. So I'm going to use this image and I'm going to stamp it, and then I'm going to turn it so the image is kind of below it and going the opposite direction. And I really love the shaded summer stamp. Now, if you haven't realized that there are actually dies in the celebration brochure that coordinate with this. So if you haven't picked those up yet, they do. Celebration is over at the end of the month. It's hard to believe we're already almost at the end of September. So just about 11 days left in celebration. So that's what I'm using. And I'm using Highland Heather as my card base. So this is 5.5 by 8.5. And I've got a piece of fresh freesia, which is cut 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. I'm just going to have just a peekaboo of the fresh freesia showing as a mat. And then my basic white is cut 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I've got a piece of fresh freesia here that is 1 and, oh gosh, I measured this before I came, 1.5 by 4, and it's going to go in the middle. Hey, Sandra, welcome. Okay, so let me do a couple of things. Let me bring in just that for the moment. Now, I've gone ahead, I've got a piece of Post-it note. These are one of the long Post-it notes. And I just realized I cut this narrower than what it should have been. So after I told you that I'd cut my mat to be 1.5, I cut that 1. So I'm just going to cut this to be 1.5 inches wide, and that's what I'm going to use for my mat. I like a Post-it note just because it gives me some adhesive that I can stick this down. And I'm going to put this roughly in the middle of my base. Oopsie. And that's why I want some sticky on it so that it doesn't shift and I can actually adhere it down. Like, try to get it level. Like that. Okay. Actually, Nancy, this is no secret technique, although one day I will show on how you actually get the mirror image if you're stamping so that you can have like an animal facing left and right. You do that using your silicone mat or window sheets. With this one, and I haven't actually put the sticker on, all I'm going to do is stamp it top and then just flip it and stamp it just going the opposite direction. So no real secret with this one on how to do that. Now, not sure why I grabbed Tuxedo Black Memento. So the first thing that you want to do is I've got some Stampin' Write markers. Like I said, you can use the blends, but they, on something this big, they do dry out really fast. And so I grabbed Highland Heather, Fresh Freesia, Evening Evergreen, and I actually grabbed Polished Pink because I might just put a pop of color. But I'm going to start with my Highland Heather. And really, I'm just using the brush end to color. If you lay it a little bit flat and just color the images that you want to stamp. This will start to dry out, but I'll show you the technique for that. All right, and then we'll do, this is going to be really light with the Fresh Freesia because it's just a really soft pink color. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do this one up here also in Fresh Freesia, and I'm going to go back over maybe just the middle of this with the Polished Pink. And yeah, maybe just that. Okay, and then the Evening Evergreen will do the leaves. You could do another color if you wanted to do, because there are these sprigs that you could do in a lighter color, but I won't do that. And I realized I forgot there's a bud up at the top that probably needs to be a color. Let's see. I think I did that one. Let's do it in darker. We'll do it in the Highland Heather. Now you're not going to be able to see, well, actually, let me flip this back. So what you want to do, if I go back to this, is huff on this. And so it has started to dry out. So just take it and huff on it, which is what that's called. And then you can take it and stamp. So I'm not stamping the whole thing, and this will not be as crisp as the as what you would get if you stamped it using your ink pad. Now, I probably wish I had more of the leaves and stems showing on this, but that's okay. Kind of. And then we're going to repeat this. Color these again because you won't have enough ink on it. It definitely will have dried out by the time you go to do it again. But it really doesn't take very long at all to actually just color these. When I first started stamping, I think, well, actually, that's not true. When I first started stamping with Stampin' Up, this was one of the first techniques I learned. And in fact, I joined a marker club. And so before I started to buy a lot of ink pads, I actually had bought the full set of markers because you can pretty much color. Now, at the time, there were no photopolymer stamps, but yeah, I could color and have any image I want. Now, I'm going to put a little bit more. I'm going to move this down a little bit, and I'm going to try and get a little bit more of the leaves. And I didn't, but that's okay. I kind of like that. Okay, so that's the goal. So that's masking. So now I've got a spot that I'm going to put my sentiment on right in the middle, and I've got the flowers and some of the leaves coming out top and bottom. Okay, now before I adhere this down, I am going to stamp this, and I am going to color this as well. This is a happy birthday. I'm going to color this as well. And when you've got words, you definitely want to make sure you've covered all of the letters. Nothing worse than having a letter only partly covered off. And we're just going to okay, now got that. What else do I want? Try to think. I know. I've got some of the Highland Heather. This is the Highland Heather grosgrain ribbon. I thought this would be pretty. So let's see if I can actually tie a bow. Maybe what I'll do is I will wrap this around here and then do a faux bow rather than try and tie a bow with this wide ribbon. And like that. And I'm going to use dimensionals because I like to pop things up. Now, when you've got something this wide, I tend to put, oops, things are sticking. I put dimensionals top and bottom and some in the middle. It's quite wide and I don't like it to wobble. And so this has got a lot of dimensionals on it. I probably didn't need this many. But anyway, I like to have it so it doesn't wobble. It's quite wide, and if you just put it across the middle, it wobbles. I don't like wobbly labels. It's like saggy middles. We don't like that. I've been watching the Great British Baking Show, and they talk about saggy bottoms on pies and pastry, and so this is kind of the same. I don't want a saggy middle or a wobbly label. All right. So now let's see if I can put this through and tie. Watching comments. Okay. This is really pretty ribbon. It's the grosgrain ribbon, and it's got a shimmer to it, so it's very pretty. Like that. Trim it. Ooh, the sun's coming out here, which is great because I have an event with my sorority to go to this afternoon. We're meeting in a park, and if it was anything like yesterday, it would have been absolutely miserable because it was just pouring with rain here. So it's actually, the sun has come out and we may not get rained on. Oopsie. Okay, so now I've got my fresh freesia. So I'm just gonna use my Stampin' Seal. This is such a pretty card. So subtle, almost spring-like. You could, I could have embossed that, the strip in the middle, just to give it a little bit of texture. I'm just gonna score this at 4 1/4. I need to get into the habit of scoring my card bases. It just makes it better. And then always fold into the mountain. Okay, yes, I like this. Well, sometimes cards turn out the way you hope they will, and sometimes they don't. This is one that's turning out kind of the way I hoped. All right, then we'll put this on like that. Like that. And then I grabbed some of these are the in color jewels, the 2021 to 2023 in colors. And so I grabbed them. Let's see, here's my take your pick tool. And I think I will use some of the Highland Heather, or not Highland Heather, that's actually fresh freesia. Let's put some on here. Like that. Okay, a little bit of decoration on the inside, maybe. Actually, I won't do the decoration on the inside yet because I didn't cut a piece of basic white cardstock that I want to put on the inside. So I will do that later, definitely before it goes out. Thanks, Maxine. Oh, great. Yeah, I like that. I kind of wish I'd put something that made this one not quite so plain on the as a background, but it's really pretty. And it's just the images that you stamp using the markers is just so subtle. It just gives it a really different look than if you stamp it with an ink pad. Okay, actually, I wonder if that's Janet who's commented with the 3 purple hearts. I know Janet loves purple, and so maybe that's Janet that's commented. Anyway, so actually, just as a reminder, if you are coming in through my Facebook group, if you go out to streamyard.com/Facebook and give permission, it will share your name so I can actually see who's commenting on StreamYard, which is the application I use to actually stream to my groups and to also to YouTube. I don't actually see if you haven't given permission in a Facebook group and that's where you're commenting from, I can't actually see your name. All right. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I did pop on early today. As I said, I'm heading out to a sorority event this afternoon. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. I hope you'll be back. Tomorrow night is my Zoom class, which is at 7 p.m. Pacific. If you're not part of the Facebook group, that's where I advertise it. You can go out to, gosh, I've forgotten what my Facebook group is. I think it's called Creating with Stamping with Melva. But I will put the link to it on underneath this video on YouTube so that you can go out and find it. If you want to join us, it's a free class starting at 7 p.m. Pacific tomorrow night. We make a couple of cards. I'll give you the instructions and you'll use your supplies. It's always fun just to get together and do some crafting. Then I'll be back on Tuesday night at 6:30 with a sketch challenge. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you enjoy the rest of the afternoon. Happy stamping. Bye.